The Phantom Book Series. Margaret Chen is a librarian from Portland who maintains detailed memories of a children's book series that, according to every publisher, author, and literary database, never existed. Margaret remembers spending countless hours as a child reading about the adventures of Timothy Fieldmouse, a brave little rodent who lived in a magical garden and helped other woodland creatures solve their problems. She can describe the illustrations perfectly. Timothy wore a tiny blue vest and carried a miniature leather satchel filled with helpful tools. The books had distinctive green covers with gold lettering, and each story taught valuable lessons about friendship, courage, and helping others. Margaret recalls checking these books out from her local library dozens of times between the ages of 6 and 10, discussing them with her mother, and even writing a book report about Timothy Fieldmouse for her third-grade class. The problem is that Timothy Fieldmouse never existed. No publisher has any record of such a series. No author has ever claimed to have written these books. Libraries across the country have no trace of them in their historical catalogs. Margaret's childhood library has detailed acquisition records going back 50 years, and Timothy Fieldmouse appears nowhere in their system. When confronted with this evidence, Margaret doesn't waver. She can quote passages from the books verbatim, describe specific plot points from individual stories, and even recall the slightly musty smell of the library copies. Her memories are so vivid and detailed that she's convinced there must be some kind of conspiracy or cover-up preventing her from finding the books today. Margaret isn't alone. Online forums have revealed dozens of other people who share identical memories of Timothy Fieldmouse books. They describe the same blue vest, the same green covers, and many of the same story elements. These individuals come from different states, different backgrounds, and different generations, yet their memories align with startling precision. The Forgotten Strike. James Morrison is an automotive engineer from Detroit who swears he witnessed one of the most significant moments in American labor history, an event that, according to every historical record, never took place. James maintains that in 1987, he was present at a massive strike at the Ford Rouge plant that lasted for 6 weeks and involved over 30,000 workers. He describes the scene with remarkable detail. Picket lines stretched for miles around the facility. Strike organizers gave passionate speeches from makeshift platforms. The local news covered the event extensively, showing footage of workers marching, carrying signs demanding better working conditions and health care benefits. James remembers participating in the strike himself, walking the picket line every day, attending union meetings, and even getting arrested during a confrontation with plant security. The strike, according to James, ended when Ford management finally agreed to a groundbreaking contract that became a model for labor agreements across the automotive industry. He recalls celebrating with his fellow workers, reading about the victory in newspapers, and discussing how the successful strike would change manufacturing labor relations forever. Historical records tell a different story. The Ford Rouge plant had no major strikes in 1987. Labor relations were relatively stable during that period, and no significant work stoppages occurred. Union records from that year show routine negotiations, but no strike activity. Local newspapers from Detroit contain no coverage of any such labor action, and Ford's corporate archives have no documentation of the massive strike James describes so vividly. When presented with this evidence, James becomes frustrated and insistent. He can name specific union leaders who organized the strike, describe the exact location where he was arrested, and even recall conversations he had with reporters who covered the event. His wife supports his memories, claiming she remembers him coming home exhausted from picket line duty and discussing strike developments over dinner. James has found others who share fragments of his memories. Former Ford workers from that era recall hearing about a big strike, though their details are hazier. Some remember seeing news coverage or reading newspaper articles about labor disputes at the Rouge plant. The consistency of these shared memories creates a compelling case for an event that official history insists never occurred. The Vanish Study. Dr. Sarah Williams is a psychology professor who has spent decades studying memory and cognition, making her false memories particularly intriguing from a scientific perspective. Sarah maintains detailed recollections of a groundbreaking study published in a major psychology journal in 1994 that fundamentally changed how researchers understood childhood memory formation. She remembers reading the study when it was first published, discussing it extensively with colleagues, and even citing it in her own research papers. The study, according to Sarah's memory, demonstrated that children as young as 2 years old could form detailed long-term memories under specific conditions, overturning previous assumptions about early childhood amnesia. The lead researcher, as Sarah recalls, was Dr. Michael Harrison from Stanford University. The study involved over 200 children and used innovative techniques to test memory formation in toddlers. The results were so significant that they sparked international debate and led to changes in child psychology practices. Sarah can describe the methodology, the statistical analysis, and even specific graphs and charts from the published paper. The problem is that no such study exists. Dr. Michael Harrison was never affiliated with Stanford University. No major psychology journal published research matching Sarah's description in 1994 or any other year. The specific methodology she describes has never been used in published research, and the conclusions she remembers would have been considered groundbreaking enough to generate extensive academic coverage that simply doesn't exist. Sarah's memory is so detailed that she can quote specific passages from the non-existent paper. She recalls the exact journal it appeared in, the volume and page numbers, and even remembers a particular photograph of Dr. Harrison that accompanied an interview about the research. When she attempts to locate the study in academic databases, she becomes convinced that it must have been somehow erased or suppressed. Other psychology professionals have expressed familiarity with the research Sarah describes. Several have mentioned hearing about similar studies or attending conferences where such findings were discussed. The shared nature of these academic false memories suggests that entire professional communities can develop collective recollections of research that never actually took place. The Impossible Movie. Robert Park is a movie enthusiast who maintains vivid memories of a film that was never made, never released, and according to every industry source, had never even entered development. Robert remembers watching a science fiction movie in theaters in 1992 called Quantum Leap, starring Kevin Costner as a physicist who discovers how to travel through parallel dimensions. The film, as Robert recalls it, was a big-budget production with spectacular special effects showing different versions of reality. Kevin Costner's character used a complex machine to jump between dimensions, encountering alternate versions of his life and trying to find his way back to his original timeline. The movie had a distinctive blue-tinted visual style and featured a haunting musical score that Robert can still hum today. He remembers specific scenes with remarkable clarity. There was a dramatic sequence where Costner's character encounters a version of himself who had become a successful businessman instead of a scientist. Another memorable scene involved him witnessing a world where historical events had unfolded differently. The film's climax featured an elaborate chase scene through multiple dimensions as the protagonist raced to prevent a catastrophe that would destroy all realities. Robert saw the movie multiple times during its theatrical run and later rented it on VHS. He discussed the film with friends, read reviews in entertainment magazines, and even recorded the movie when it aired on cable television years later. His memories include details about the film's marketing campaign, promotional interviews with Kevin Costner, and behind-the-scenes documentaries about the special effects. The entertainment industry has no record of this film. Kevin Costner never starred in a movie called Quantum Leap, or any science fiction film matching Robert's description. No studio ever developed such a project, and no director ever pitched a parallel dimension story starring Costner movie databases. Industry publications and Costner's official filmography contain no reference to this non-existent movie. Robert's false memories extend beyond just the film itself. He recalls specific theaters where he saw it, remembers the exact date of his first viewing, and can describe the promotional posters in detail. When confronted with evidence that the movie doesn't exist, he speculates that it might have been pulled from distribution for legal reasons, or that his memories might involve an early screening of a film that was never officially released. Online communities have revealed other people who share similar memories of Kevin Costner science fiction films from the early 1990s. Some remember different titles or plot details, but the core elements align remarkably well. These shared false memories suggest that entire fictional movies can exist in the collective consciousness without ever having been produced. The alternate scandal. Linda Rodriguez is a teacher and history enthusiast who maintains detailed recollections of a major presidential scandal from 1998 that dominated news coverage for months, but appears in no historical documentation. According to Linda's memories, President Bill Clinton was involved in a financial controversy involving illegal campaign contributions from foreign governments. The scandal broke in early 1998 and led to congressional hearings, special prosecutor investigations, and widespread calls for impeachment based on these financial improprieties, rather than the personal matters that actually dominated that period. Linda remembers watching extensive television coverage of congressional hearings, where witnesses testified about secret bank accounts and money laundering operations. She recalls specific senators asking pointed questions about financial records and foreign government connections. The scandal, as she remembers it, involved complex international transactions and threatened to fundamentally alter American foreign policy. Her memories include watching President Clinton give a nationally televised address defending his financial dealings and denying any wrongdoing. She recalls the speech taking place in the Oval Office, with Clinton appearing visibly shaken as he addressed allegations about his campaign financing. The address, according to Linda, was widely criticized as unconvincing and led to further calls for his resignation. Historical records show that President Clinton did face impeachment proceedings in 1998, but they were related to the Monica Lewinsky scandal and perjury charges, not financial improprieties or foreign campaign contributions. No congressional hearings focused on the type of financial corruption Linda describes, and Clinton never gave a televised address defending against such allegations. Linda's memories are supported by others who recall similar elements of a financial scandal involving Clinton in 1998. Some remember reading newspaper articles about foreign money. Others recall television news segments about campaign finance violations. The consistency of these shared false memories creates a compelling alternative version of a pivotal moment in recent American political history: the lost cartoon. David Fletcher is a marketing executive who carries impossibly detailed memories of a Saturday morning cartoon that captivated millions of young viewers throughout the 1980s, but exists in no broadcast records anywhere. David remembers rushing to the television every Saturday at 9 in the morning to watch Captain Starfire and the Cosmic Rangers, an animated series about a space hero and his team of alien allies protecting the galaxy from an evil empire. The show ran for 4 seasons, according to David's recollection, from 1983 to 1987, and featured state-of-the-art animation that rivaled anything being produced at the time. Captain Starfire wore a distinctive silver and blue uniform with a star-shaped emblem on his chest that would glow when he activated his cosmic powers. His team included Zara, a purple-skinned alien with telepathic abilities, and Bolt, a robot companion who provided comic relief with his malfunctioning speech circuits. David can describe entire episodes with startling precision. He recalls a 2-part season finale where Captain Starfire had to infiltrate the enemy's fortress planet to rescue the captured Galactic Council. There was a memorable Christmas special where the Rangers visited Earth and learned about human holiday traditions. The show's theme song, which David can still sing word for word, featured a driving rock melody with lyrics about courage, friendship, and protecting the innocent across the stars. The merchandising campaign was massive, according to David's memories. Action figures filled toy store shelves, lunchboxes featured the characters, and he owned a Captain Starfire costume that he wore for 3 consecutive Halloweens. He remembers trading character cards with friends at school and playing elaborate games based on the show's mythology during recess. The series was so popular that it spawned comic books, video games, and even a live-action movie that was announced but never produced. Television archives contain no record of Captain Starfire and the Cosmic Rangers. No animation studio ever produced such a series, and no network ever broadcast a show matching David's description. Toy companies have no history of manufacturing the action figures and merchandise he describes so vividly. Comic book publishers never released titles based on these characters, and no entertainment companies ever developed related media properties. When confronted with this absence of evidence, David becomes incredulous. He insists that millions of children watched the show and that it was one of the most popular animated series of the decade. His certainty is so complete that he's convinced there must be some kind of systematic cover-up or mass deletion of records. He's found online communities where dozens of other people share fragments of his memories, describing the same characters, theme song, and even specific episode plots. The Ghost Restaurant. Maria Santos is a restaurant owner who maintains vivid recollections of a fast food chain called Burger Palace that dominated the American landscape throughout the 1970s and early 1980s before mysteriously disappearing from existence. According to Maria's memories, Burger Palace restaurants featured distinctive orange and yellow architecture with castle-like towers and medieval-themed decorations. The chain was known for its signature Royal Burger, a flame-broiled patty served on a sesame seed bun with a special sauce that customers couldn't get anywhere else. The restaurants also served night fries, which were seasoned with a unique spice blend that gave them a slightly spicy flavor. Maria remembers eating at Burger Palace locations across multiple states during family road trips in her childhood. The restaurants always had the same layout, with plastic medieval shields decorating the walls and staff wearing paper crowns as part of their uniforms. The chain's mascot was Sir Beef, a cartoon knight who appeared in television commercials encouraging customers to join the royal feast. She recalls the chain's downfall beginning in 1982 when a series of food safety scandals destroyed public confidence in the brand. Several locations were linked to outbreaks of food poisoning, leading to massive lawsuits and government investigations. The company filed for bankruptcy in 1984, and all remaining locations closed permanently. Maria remembers reading newspaper articles about the chain's collapse and feeling disappointed that her favorite childhood restaurant was gone forever. Corporate records show no evidence of a fast food chain called Burger Palace. No restaurant company ever operated locations matching Maria's description, and no food service business ever used the medieval theme she describes. The trademark for Burger Palace has never been registered, and no advertising agency ever created commercials featuring a character named Sir Beef. Food industry publications from the 1970s and 1980s contain no references to such a chain or its alleged bankruptcy. Maria's false memories extend to specific locations and personal experiences. She can describe the exact layout of a Burger Palace that supposedly existed in her hometown, including its position relative to other businesses and the color of its parking lot. She remembers specific meals she ate there, conversations with family members about menu items, and even recalls collecting promotional toys that came with kids' meals. When local historians confirmed that no such restaurant ever operated in her area, Maria suspects that evidence of the chain has been deliberately suppressed. The Phantom Record. Thomas Wright is a former athlete turned coach who maintains detailed memories of one of the most dramatic moments in Olympic competition that appears in no official records of the Games. Thomas recalls watching the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul, when American sprinter Marcus Johnson set a world record in the 200-meter dash that stood for only 18 minutes before being broken by his teammate in the same event. The race, according to Thomas's memory, was one of the most exciting moments in Olympic history. Marcus Johnson came from behind in the final 50 meters to win gold with a time that shattered the existing world record. The crowd erupted in celebration as Johnson crossed the finish line with his arms raised in triumph. Television commentators called it one of the greatest comeback victories they had ever witnessed. What made the moment even more remarkable was that Johnson's teammate, Robert Davis, ran in the very next heat and broke Johnson's brand-new world record by 0.02 of a second. Thomas remembers watching both races with his college track team, everyone cheering and shouting as they witnessed history being made twice within the same hour. The back-to-back world records became legendary in track and field circles and were replayed constantly on sports highlight shows for months afterward. Thomas can describe specific details about both races with extraordinary precision. He recalls Johnson's distinctive running style, his lane assignment, and even his reaction when he realized he had broken the world record. He remembers Davis looking up at the scoreboard in disbelief when his own record-breaking time was announced. Both athletes were featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated the following week, according to Thomas's recollection. Olympic records show no evidence of the dramatic double world record Thomas describes. Marcus Johnson and Robert Davis never competed in the 1988 Olympics or any other Olympic Games. No American sprinters set world records in the 200-meter dash during those games, and no back-to-back record-breaking performances occurred in any event. Sports Illustrated covers from that period feature different athletes entirely. Thomas's certainty about these events remains unshakable, despite the lack of documentation. He insists that he watched the races live on television and that they were among the most memorable sporting moments of his lifetime. He's discovered online forums where other track and field enthusiasts share similar memories of dramatic Olympic performances that don't appear in official records. The AI operating system. Patricia Kim is a software engineer who maintains vivid recollections of a revolutionary computer operating system called Windows Plus that Microsoft released in 1995 as a premium version of Windows 95. According to Patricia's memories, Windows Plus featured advanced artificial intelligence capabilities that could learn user preferences and automate routine tasks. The system included a virtual assistant called Alex that could respond to voice commands, manage schedules, and even engage in basic conversations. The interface was years ahead of its time, featuring three-dimensional icons and smooth animations that made standard Windows 95 look primitive by comparison. Patricia remembers purchasing Windows Plus for $800, a premium price that reflected its advanced capabilities. The installation process took over 4 hours due to the system's complexity, but the results were revolutionary. Her computer became dramatically faster and more intuitive to use. The AI assistant learned her work patterns and began automatically organizing files, scheduling reminders, and even suggesting more efficient ways to complete routine tasks. The system was so advanced that it attracted attention from technology journalists and industry analysts. Patricia recalls reading extensive reviews in computer magazines praising Windows Plus as the future of personal computing. Microsoft executives gave interviews discussing how the AI technology would eventually be integrated into all their products. The company reportedly invested over $2 billion in developing the advanced features. Despite its technological superiority, Windows Plus was discontinued after only 18 months due to compatibility issues and high system requirements. Patricia remembers reading that most consumers' computers weren't powerful enough to run the software effectively, leading to widespread complaints and demands for refunds. Microsoft quietly pulled the product from the market and never mentioned it again in their official corporate history. Technology industry records contain no evidence of Windows Plus or any premium version of Windows 95 with AI capabilities. Microsoft never developed or released such a product, and no computer magazines ever reviewed an operating system matching Patricia's description. The company's financial records show no investment of $2 billion in AI technology during that period, and no Microsoft executives ever gave interviews about such advanced features. Patricia's false memories include specific technical details about the system's architecture, screenshots of the interface, and even the exact wording of error messages. She remembers the packaging design, the installation manual, and specific features that supposedly distinguished Windows Plus from standard Windows 95. Her certainty about the product's existence is so complete that she's convinced Microsoft has deliberately erased all evidence of their failed AI experiment, the missing masterpiece. Dr. Jennifer Hayes is an English literature professor who carries detailed memories of a novel that transformed American fiction, but exists in no library catalog or publishing record anywhere in the world. Dr. Hayes maintains that in 1987, renowned author John Updike published a groundbreaking work called The Suburban Prophet that won the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction and fundamentally changed how writers approached contemporary American themes. The novel, according to Dr. Hayes' recollection, told the story of a middle-aged insurance salesman who begins experiencing prophetic visions while living in suburban Pennsylvania. The protagonist's supernatural abilities gradually destroy his marriage and alienate his children and force him to confront the spiritual emptiness of modern American life. Updike's trademark prose style elevated the supernatural elements into a profound meditation on faith, community, and the search for meaning in contemporary society. Dr. Hayes remembers reading the novel when it was first published and being struck by its ambitious blend of realism and mysticism. She taught the book in her American literature courses for over a decade, leading classroom discussions about Updike's use of suburban settings to explore metaphysical themes. Her students consistently ranked The Suburban Prophet among their favorite assigned readings, often writing papers analyzing its complex symbolism and narrative structure. The novel's critical reception was extraordinary, according to Dr. Hayes' memories. Literary critics praised Updike for pushing beyond his usual domestic realism into more experimental territory. The book spent months on bestseller lists and sparked extensive academic analysis. Dr. Hayes recalls attending academic conferences where entire panels were dedicated to discussing the novel's influence on contemporary fiction. She remembers specific passages from the book with remarkable clarity, including a pivotal scene where the protagonist correctly predicts a local factory explosion and another where his supernatural abilities manifest during a neighborhood barbecue. The novel's final chapters, as she recalls them, featured the protagonist choosing to abandon his gift in order to rebuild his relationships with his family. Publishing records show that John Updike never wrote a novel called The Suburban Prophet. No book matching Dr. Hayes' description ever won a Pulitzer Prize, and no major publisher ever released such a title. Updike's official bibliography contains no work dealing with prophetic visions or supernatural themes in suburban settings. Literary databases and academic journals show no evidence of the critical analysis and scholarly attention Dr. Hayes describes. Dr. Hayes' certainty about the novel's existence extends to specific details about its publication and reception. She can describe the cover design, quote from favorable reviews, and even recall the exact page count of her original hardcover copy. When presented with evidence that the book doesn't exist, she becomes convinced that there must be some kind of systematic suppression of Updike's scholarship, or that the novel has been deliberately removed from literary history. These 10 cases represent a phenomenon that extends far beyond simple memory errors or individual delusions. The consistency, detail, and emotional conviction behind these false memories suggests something more profound at work in human consciousness. These individuals don't just think they remember these things, they know they remember them, with a certainty that feels as solid and real as any genuine memory they possess. What makes these cases particularly disturbing is how the false memories seem to fill gaps or satisfy expectations in ways that feel completely natural. The nonexistent children's book series provides the kind of wholesome entertainment parents want their children to read. The imaginary labor strike represents the kind of worker solidarity that union supporters hope to see. The fictional movie offers the type of intelligent science fiction that film enthusiasts crave. The false memories aren't random or chaotic. They follow logical patterns, contain plausible details, and fit seamlessly into the broader cultural context of their supposed time periods. This suggests that whatever mechanism creates these memories operates according to some kind of internal logic, generating false recollections that feel authentic because they align with our expectations and desires about how the world should work. The pattern becomes even more unsettling when we examine how these false memories spread and reinforce themselves within communities of believers. Online forums dedicated to the Timothy Fieldmouse books have grown to include hundreds of members who share increasingly elaborate details about the fictional series. They discuss favorite characters, debate plot inconsistencies, and even create fan art based on their collective false memories. What's remarkable is how these communities develop their own internal consistency. When one member mentions a detail that others don't remember, the group either collectively rejects it or gradually incorporates it into their shared narrative. The false memories evolve and strengthen through social interaction, becoming more detailed and convincing over time, rather than fading or becoming less certain. Dr. Patricia Kim has found others who worked in the software industry during the 1990s and share fragments of memories about advanced Microsoft products that never existed. These individuals compare notes about Windows Plus features, discuss the technical challenges of implementing AI in operating systems, and speculate about why Microsoft would want to erase such revolutionary technology from history. The phenomenon isn't limited to American culture. Reports of shared false memories have emerged from countries around the world, suggesting that whatever causes these collective memory distortions operates across cultural and linguistic boundaries. Japanese researchers have documented cases of people who remember anime series that were never produced. European investigators have found communities sharing memories of historical events that don't appear in any official records. What makes these international cases particularly intriguing is how they reflect the specific cultural context of their regions, while following the same basic patterns observed in American cases. The false memories feel authentic and culturally appropriate, incorporating details that would make sense within their particular social and historical frameworks. The medical community has begun taking notice of these collective false memory cases. Though they struggle to explain the phenomenon using conventional psychological theories, traditional models of false memory formation focus on individual cognitive processes, suggestion effects, and the reconstructive nature of human recollection. But these cases involve multiple unrelated individuals sharing identical detailed memories without any apparent source of common misinformation. Dr. Williams, the psychology professor who remembers the nonexistent Stanford study, represents a particularly troubling case for memory researchers. Her expertise in the field should have made her less susceptible to false memory formation, not more. Yet her false memories are among the most detailed and persistent documented in the literature. She continues to search academic databases and contact colleagues, convinced that the study must exist somewhere in the scientific record. The entertainment industry cases raise questions about the relationship between media consumption and memory formation. Robert Park's vivid recollections of the Kevin Costner film include sensory details that seem too specific to be purely imaginary. He remembers the texture of the theater seats, the taste of the popcorn he ate while watching, and even the conversation he had with his girlfriend during the drive home. These peripheral details suggest that his false memories aren't just about the movie itself, but encompass an entire fabricated experience, complete with contextual information that would normally anchor a genuine memory in time and place. The brain appears to have created not just a false movie, but an entire false evening of entertainment that feels completely authentic to him. The political false memories documented in Linda Rodriguez's case have particularly serious implications for democratic society. If citizens can develop detailed, convincing recollections of political events that never occurred, the implications for civic engagement and informed decision-making are profound. Her memories of Clinton's financial scandal feel so real to her that they continue to influence her political opinions decades later. Other individuals who share similar false political memories have reported that these recollections affect their voting behavior, their trust in government institutions, and their understanding of recent American history. False memories aren't just academic curiosities when they shape political beliefs and democratic participation. The historical cases challenge our understanding of how collective memory forms and evolves over time. If groups of people can spontaneously develop shared recollections of events that never happened, it raises questions about the reliability of oral history, eyewitness accounts, and even contemporary historical documentation. Traditional historians rely on multiple independent sources to verify historical claims, but these cases suggest that independent sources might not be as independent as previously assumed. If false memories can spread through communities and become mutually reinforcing, the standard historical verification process might be less reliable than scholars have believed. The technological false memories are particularly relevant in our current digital age. As artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and other advanced technologies become more prevalent, the boundary between real and simulated experiences continues to blur. If people can develop vivid memories of technologies that never existed, how will we distinguish between genuine technological progress and false memories of imagined innovations? The literary false memories documented in Dr. Hayes' case highlight how cultural products can exist in collective memory even when they were never actually created. Her detailed knowledge of Updike's non-existent novel includes critical interpretations, thematic analysis, and scholarly discourse that would normally require the actual existence of the text being discussed. This suggests that false memories can generate their own secondary effects, creating entire frameworks of analysis and interpretation around cultural products that exist only in memory. The implications for literary scholarship, cultural criticism, and artistic heritage are significant if false memories can create convincing alternatives to actual cultural history. The childhood television memories shared by David Fletcher and others point toward a particularly vulnerable period for false memory formation. The intense emotional connection children develop with entertainment media, combined with the social reinforcement of shared cultural experiences, might create ideal conditions for collective false memory development. The merchandising elements of David's false memories are especially intriguing. He doesn't just remember watching the cartoon, but recalls an entire commercial ecosystem built around characters that never existed. This suggests that false memories can incorporate complex economic and marketing elements that would require extensive real-world infrastructure to actually exist. The restaurant memories documented in Maria Santos's case demonstrate how false memories can encompass entire business enterprises, complete with corporate histories, marketing campaigns, and operational details. Her recollections of Burger Palace include not just personal dining experiences, but knowledge of the chain's business model, competitive positioning, and eventual corporate failure. These commercial false memories raise questions about consumer psychology and the formation of brand loyalty. If people can develop strong emotional connections to businesses that never existed, it suggests that marketing and advertising might be tapping into psychological mechanisms that extend beyond simple product promotion into the realm of memory manipulation. The sports memories shared by Thomas Wright highlight how false memories can incorporate the intense emotions and social bonding associated with athletic competition. His recollections of the Olympic double world record include not just the events themselves, but the communal experience of watching with teammates and the lasting impact on track and field culture. These athletic false memories suggest that competitive sports, with their emphasis on record-breaking achievements and memorable moments, might be particularly susceptible to false memory formation. The combination of high emotions, social viewing experiences, and media coverage could create conditions where imagined sporting events feel as real as actual competitions. The consistency across all these cases points toward underlying mechanisms that operate independently of individual psychology or personal experience. The false memories don't seem to be random products of confused or suggestible minds, but rather systematic creations that follow identifiable patterns and incorporate culturally relevant details. What's most disturbing about these cases isn't just that false memories can form, but that they can feel completely indistinguishable from real memories to the people experiencing them. The individuals documented here aren't uncertain about their recollections or willing to consider that they might be mistaken. They know these things happened with the same certainty they have about any genuine experience in their lives. This raises profound questions about the nature of human consciousness and the reliability of subjective experience. If our most vivid and convincing memories can be completely false, what does that tell us about the relationship between mind and reality? These cases suggest that consciousness might be far more creative and unreliable than we've ever imagined, capable of generating entire fictional experiences that feel absolutely authentic. The implications extend beyond individual psychology into the foundations of human knowledge and social organization. Legal systems rely on eyewitness testimony. Historical research depends on consistent documentation, and democratic societies require informed citizens who can distinguish between real events and false information. If collective false memories can emerge spontaneously and spread through communities, these fundamental assumptions about truth and reliability may need to be reconsidered. The phenomenon grows more complex when we examine how these false memories interact with modern technology and information systems. Search engines, social media platforms, and digital archives have become the primary tools people use to verify their recollections. Yet these same systems seem powerless against the conviction of shared false memories. Margaret Chen has spent countless hours searching online for evidence of the Timothy Fieldmouse books, convinced that digital traces must exist somewhere in the vast expanse of the Internet. She's contacted children's book publishers, reached out to librarians across the country, and even hired a private researcher to investigate the series. Each failed search only strengthens her belief that some kind of systematic suppression is preventing her from finding proof of what she knows to be true. The online communities that have formed around these shared false memories represent a new kind of social phenomenon. Digital platforms allow people with identical false recollections to find each other across vast geographical distances, creating echo chambers where impossible memories are validated and reinforced. These groups develop their own internal cultures, complete with shared terminology, inside jokes, and collective narratives that make their false memories feel even more authentic. Dr. Williams has discovered that her false memories of the Stanford study aren't isolated incidents. Through academic networks and professional conferences, she's encountered other psychology researchers who remember similar groundbreaking studies that don't exist in any published literature. These conversations happen in hushed tones at faculty gatherings, where respected scholars quietly admit to remembering research that seems to have vanished from the scientific record. The academic community's response to these false memory reports reveals deep discomfort with the implications. If trained researchers can develop detailed, convincing recollections of studies that were never conducted, It challenges the entire foundation of scientific knowledge and peer review. The possibility that false memories could influence research directions, funding decisions, and theoretical development represents a threat to the integrity of scientific progress. James Morrison's false memories of the Ford strike have connected him with a network of former automotive workers who share fragments of similar recollections. These men gather informally at union halls and retirement communities, discussing labor actions that official records insist never occurred. Their conversations blend genuine historical events with impossible memories, creating hybrid narratives that feel more complete and emotionally satisfying than the documented history of American labor relations. The industrial false memories seem to follow patterns that align with workers' hopes and expectations about labor solidarity. The strikes they remember are more successful, more dramatic, and more historically significant than many actual labor actions from the same period. This suggests that false memories might serve psychological functions, providing emotional satisfaction and group identity that reality couldn't deliver. Robert Park's quest to prove the existence of his remembered Kevin Costner film has led him deep into the archives of Hollywood history. He's contacted film historians, reached out to entertainment journalists, and even attempted to contact Kevin Costner's representatives directly. The consistent absence of any evidence only reinforces his conviction that powerful forces within the entertainment industry are deliberately concealing the truth. The movie industry false memories often involve films that would have been culturally significant if they had actually existed. These imagined productions fill gaps in actors' filmographies, represent genres that were underexplored during specific periods, or combine popular stars with compelling concepts that never materialized. The false memories seem to create improved versions of entertainment history that align with audiences' desires for the content they wished had been produced. Linda Rodriguez's political false memories have evolved over time, becoming more detailed and complex as she's discussed them with others who share similar recollections. Her initial memories of the Clinton financial scandal have expanded to include congressional testimony, newspaper editorials, and even late-night comedy sketches that supposedly addressed the controversy. The false memories have grown into a comprehensive alternative version of late 1990s political history. The political implications of shared false memories extend into contemporary concerns about misinformation and social media manipulation. If groups of citizens can spontaneously develop identical false recollections of political events, the challenges facing democratic discourse become even more complex than simple foreign interference or deliberate propaganda campaigns. David Fletcher's childhood television memories have inspired him to create detailed documentation of the non-existent Captain Starfire series. He's drawn character designs, written episode summaries, and even composed musical arrangements based on his memories of the theme song. His creative work feels like reconstruction rather than invention, as if he's recovering lost media rather than creating new content. The entertainment false memories often involve properties that would have been beloved by their target audiences. The remembered shows, movies, and books possess qualities that their supposed fans found deeply meaningful and emotionally resonant. This suggests that false memories might emerge from unfulfilled cultural desires, creating imaginary media that provides the satisfaction reality couldn't deliver. Maria Santos has attempted to recreate menu items from her remembered Burger Palace chain, working with food industry professionals to develop recipes that match her taste memories of the Royal Burger and night fries. Her efforts have produced food that tastes exactly as she remembers, yet no restaurant ever served these specific combinations of flavors and ingredients. These 10 cases force us to confront a terrifying possibility about the nature of human consciousness and memory itself. What we've witnessed isn't just individual confusion or simple mistakes, but evidence that our minds can create entire fictional realities so convincing that they feel more real than actual history. The consistency, detail, and emotional conviction behind these false memories suggests that human consciousness operates in ways we barely understand, generating experiences that never happened with the same clarity and certainty as genuine events. If our most trusted memories can be completely fabricated, then everything we think we know about truth, reality, and the reliability of human experience may need to be fundamentally reconsidered. If you want to explore more about how reality itself can break down in impossible ways, check out our previous video, 10 Scientists Who Vanished After Time Experiments, where we investigate the researchers who pushed the boundaries of time and space and paid the ultimate price? Click the link on your screen now. Until next time, when we find out how.